How difficult do you think it would be to run a unit that only has 5 or 6 scouts? That would be a real challenge. Hey, ScouterStan, it's going to be Thanksgiving tomorrow. That is a wonderful thing. It's a good part of the year. This is a wonderful thing for a lot of families getting together and being thankful. Scouting is a family, and we should thank those that have given their time voluntarily, free, to scouting, to your scouting unit. I hope you take a moment to thank each and every one of your parents and make sure that they're involved. Okay, that is huge. And the subject today is on small troops. Now, I don't want packs to run away, because leaders that are in packs, they're going to be in a troop eventually. It just goes like that, okay? That's the logical process. So if you're in a pack, you want to hear about this, because it could very well be something that you will have to know about. It's important that we think about all of that, because without our volunteers, scouting wouldn't exist. And even small units, even though they're very small as far as the youth that are involved in it, the structure is the same for small, medium, and large troops, and even mega troops. They even have to add more stuff to them. And this represents somewhere between 38 to 40%, depending on where you are in the country. Those are 38 to 40% are small units, or small troops, I should say. Now, on a side note, I say units a lot because I'm a unit commissioner. Okay, unit commissioners talking units, and units could be packs, it could be a troop, it could be a crew, it could be a pack, you name it. Okay, that's the thing about scouting. Unit commissioners talking units. Okay, so if I accidentally say unit, that's something that I say all the time, because I'm talking about the youth units that we have in scouting. That question actually came up in the comments. People were a little confused, and that's another thing. We need to do a video about all of the different terminology we use in scouting, because it can be very confusing. So just keep in mind, unit commissioner, old. Okay, so stuck in my habits, but that is units are so important. And troops in this regard have to be kept in mind as far as maintaining the structure. And in maintaining that structure, that gives the scouts a foundation, a structure that they can build their program on, the youth program, for the youth, by the youth. And keeping that in mind, because if it wasn't for scouting, who would be teaching scout skills? Who would be teaching the morals that scouting has built into it? Who would be doing that? Would it be people out, strangers? People, gangs maybe, So there's things out there that could be very detrimental to youth. And scouting is the bright, shining city on the hill. It is one of those things that is there so that we can help young people achieve better and greater and more than they ever thought they could. So even a small troop is better than no troop. So we, as scout leaders, need to be thankful for parents and leaders stepping up, getting trained, doing things for our youth. That is so important. Now, one of the big things that scouting does is that it's based on chartered organizations. Now, it could be anything from a church, a temple, a mosque. It could be any of those religious type bases. It could also be a civic group. It could also be a nonprofit. It could even be a business. That could actually be a chartered organization. So it's all based on charters for each and every unit, packs, troops, crews, so on. That's all based on the charter system. Now the neat thing is I did a video about charter, okay? So definitely check that one out. Chartered system is what scouting is, the core of all units and troops, packs, crews, ships, everything are based on charter. Now, because of that, there are a lot of units. There are a lot of units, and they might be rather small. Like I said before, only 38 to 40% are these small units. Now, what do we mean by being small? You have to have a minimum of 5 youth when you start a unit. That's the minimum. Now, a lot of them don't start with 5. That's the minimum. They might start with 10, 12, whatever, and then grow from there. But the 5 is the only way they can keep the charter going. They have to have at least 5 youth on the charter as members to keep the unit going. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that they should put them into different groups. Well, that defeats the whole thing about charter type of units. The charter literally has that unit. It would be like saying the Little League's got to give up their charter so that they can take all those youth and put them in somebody else's charter. That's not a very nice thing to do, okay? We want to build each one, all right? No matter where they are, okay? That's the thing about the chartered system. And there's a lot of units out there because of that. So we have to build up those units. The whole purpose of that is to service the area for the youth. So if the youth are living in a certain area, we want to make sure that we have coverage. Very few youth actually get involved in scouting, and we want to make sure that there's an opportunity for them to do so. So this is a service. This is something we do in scouting. We want to make sure that this kind of moves forward in a proper manner. Now, a lot of these questions came up by this viewer who had a very simple question about small troops. Space Shot wanted to know, well, how does that work when you only have 5 or 8 members in a troop? And that brings me to another thing. We need suggestions for next season. So if you're thinking about it and look through some of those videos that are online, a lot of these videos are evergreen. Go through there and send me a note through the comments, and I'll see it. And if it's good and we haven't covered it, boom, it's going to definitely be on the whiteboard and make sure that it gets some production looked at it and see if it becomes an episode. And that's the neat thing about this channel. It is interactive to a certain degree. As you can see, it is amazing, okay? I am so grateful for all of you in the comments and stuff, so please think about it. Now, as what I was talking about as far as a small unit, that's anywhere from, say, 5 to 15 scouts. That is the small range or smaller unit that are out there. Then, of course, if you go into the mid-range and then you get into the more modern stuff like 30 or more, that's pretty sizable. And then I've even seen units go into the 3 digits, okay? That is a major, big unit, okay? A mega unit, as they call them. And those are rare, but they are out there. And they fulfill a need in certain things. So that is something that you have to look into. Scouts are free to move around to other units. They're not trapped in one unit. It's important that they stay with their parents as far as leadership, so that's important. It would be very difficult to have the Scoutmaster's son goes to another troop. That'd be a little odd. So it's one of those things. That's usually they stay together. And because of that, there's a lot of really good unit structure out there. Small units can really focus on things, but the structure has to be there. Now, this chart is the structure of what small units should be structured towards. There's problems with this. If you have 5 scouts, all 5 of them are in the PLC. All 5. So, is it a PLC? What are they managing? And that's the thing. They're going to be taking on different roles and kind of doubling up on stuff. Now, to make this really work, you need at least 2 patrols. And that's not possible when you have a very small unit. Because not only do you have your basic PLC, but you also have all of the side stuff. Scoutmasters helping out with different youth doing different things, everything from quartermaster, scribe, you name it. There's a lot of other structure there. And that's wonderful. To have a corporate structure like this is great. And that's a good thing, because you'll find this in every Fortune 500 company. A lot of people call it the command because they have this military idea that scouting is. It's not. This is kind of a flow chart of the corporate environment. That is standard, okay? And that's the structure of scouting. Having that structure is critical, the foundation, but it's not possible when you have a small troop. That is very difficult to put together. With packs, you don't have to worry about that because it's all the adults do all the leadership. That's adult leadership led. It's a program. And whereas in Sscouts BSA, with a troop thing, you've got the youth doing the leadership. So they need a structure. And that's why they have that type of system. But you have to be able to get through all of that and be able to do it and have those things there so that the scouts can succeed. Now, before we go any further, I do want to invite you to our monthly meeting. It's on the first Sunday of each month, and it's at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So you're more than welcome to join us and ask questions and just have fun. That's one of those wonderful things about that meeting. I also want to thank everybody on Patreon for their continued support of our channel. And our channel members. You can be a channel member. You hit the join button and join up. There's all kinds of badges and emojis and different things. They even get the videos exclusively for themselves, ad-free, which is an added bonus. And then, of course, if you don't want to join in and do a monthly donation, you could always do a one-time donation by hitting the thanks button. So get involved. I really do appreciate all that you do in scouting and here on the channel. The youth in a troop, usually from 6 to 8 in a small unit, keeping it single digits as far as the active scouts that are involved, the youth. That makes it very difficult to create patrols because you need 6 to 8 in a patrol. So there's one in a very small unit. Sometimes they may not even have a name, like the Badgers or whatever. Okay, they may not have a patrol cheer. It might be a troop cheer because it's a small troop. And that's something to consider. Now, if you have up to 12, you could put 6 in each, but you need 12 active. There's a big difference between active and chartered. If they're chartered and they only come to like 4 meetings a year, that makes it difficult to have a patrol, especially when you go to camporees and campouts when they want to do the patrol method and go out and participate as patrols versus as a small troop. So that's something that I would recommend that small troops think about, is think of it as the entire troop, because of the size, is a patrol. Think of it in that way. So the patrol method can still be used. The senior patrol leader and patrol leader can be combined for that small troop. Now that is 2 different jobs. They have different things. And as soon as the unit starts to grow, that needs to be separated. You need patrol leaders doing patrol leader duties, and your senior patrol leaders running the PLC and the meetings. So that's your structure. So keeping that in mind, this is something that can be done in a small unit, and you don't want to do it forever. If you can, try to get some recruitment done and try to get more scouts involved. And recruitment should be year-round. So, another video. But recruiting and increasing those numbers will help settle some of those dual positions that people will have to take on in a small unit. Now, youth leadership in a small troop can be difficult. It can have its pitfalls. It's hard to do 2 jobs, especially something as senior patrol leader and patrol leader. That is something that is difficult, but it can be done. And if you got a good youth that can take on those challenges and use that structure, so that when the troop does start to grow, when they start to have 2 patrols, and patrol leaders and assistant patrol leaders, and then quartermasters, scribe, and all the other positions, it's difficult. It is really hard when you're small, but it's very specific. Every single scout knows every other scout, and they can, when a challenge comes along, they meet it faster and better than anything else. And as far as advancement, that is critical in a small unit. It is something that kind of snowballs, okay? And that's the wonderful thing about a smaller unit. If you're out shopping, say for instance you're a Weeblo looking for a troop, okay? Weeblos or an Arrow of Light, that kind of thing. It's never too early. You should shop around. There are different units for different scouts. I have a lot of scouts that want to go on, I want to go to this troop because they have all the canoes and they do a lot of things, and they go to a big summer camp and they go out of state a lot and they do. The problem is they're brand new to scouting. Okay, they're going to blend right in and get lost. And that's not what they should be doing. The moderate sized troop would be a better fit and would help them too, so that they can have patrols and do things. So this is something to consider as a parent when you're taking your Cub Scout, your Weeblo Arrow of Light, around to different troops. It's not that sizes matters, it just gets different. It's different. You're dealing with different structures, and you want to find a good fit for the scout. Always remember, if it doesn't work out, if membership dropped or something, or membership went through the roof and everybody's getting lost, there's always a possibility that you could go to another unit. So don't ever quit because it's not a good fit for that unit. Upgrade. That's one of those things. You can always upgrade in scouting. Go to a different unit that fits your needs, what you want. That's what I tell parents. That's what I tell leaders. There's a lot of different things out there, and not every unit will be the same. So just keep that in mind. That's something we do. We do a lot of work for these scouts, right? We dump a lot of our time and effort towards a good goal. These are the leaders of the future, and we need to be there to help them achieve. Give them that foundation so they can build better lives. That's the wonderful thing about scouting. And we do so much. And I am so very thankful for you watching this video, getting all this information, whether you're in Cub Scouts or in a troop, or you're in a crew, or a ship, or a post. There's a lot of different things in scouting. But I am grateful. I'm so very grateful for all of your hard work, all of your suffering and putting up with parents sometimes, and putting all that towards the good. Always remember that. I'm always thinking about going to courts of honor and seeing the faces of those young people, receiving their medals, receiving their awards, receiving their ranks. That is what it's all about. Keep up that good hard work. And I'm so thankful for you in this season of Thanksgiving. Thank you so much. And I'll see you on the trail.